It has taken us 8 years to do approximately a third of the loop. Why is it taking us so long?
That's because we're not loopers, we're sloopers, slow loopers, and we like it that way.
Staying on the path that I've chosen, straight up, come my way, and I'll see you at the top. 'Cause something's gonna happen in this story, and I can feel it coming, like the rising of the sun.
Hi there, I'm Cherie.
I'm Chris.
And if you're new to the channel, we're Technomadia, and we started our great loop in April of 2017.
And it is now May of 2025.
And we started in Punta Gorda, Florida, so the west coast of Florida, and we are currently on the eastern shore of the Chesapeake Bay. This is as far north as we have gotten on our loop adventure.
And we haven't gotten lost. It's kind of hard to get lost on the Great Loop. There's really only one way around because going clockwise is the bad way. But we've just been taking it really, really slow for a variety of reasons.
Now, when we started our loop, we did not intend to do the traditional one-year loop. We already had been full-time RVers for over a decade, and we knew that doing that many miles at 6 to 7 knots was going to be more in-motion days than we were comfortable, especially because we were still working full-time. So we originally intended 2 to 3 years, and we would keep our RV, end of season, store, go back to RV life, repeat.
Yeah, that was our plan from the beginning, is divide our year between boat and RV, split it up like that, be flexible. We bought a bigger boat than we initially set off to buy because we thought, well, this will be our home for more of the year. So let's get a bigger boat, something we can enjoy being on, take it slow. But we still, in our mind, thought 2 or 3 years.
Right. Here it is 8.
8.
And we're not even a third away. Well, actually, technically on the loop itself, we are, what you said, about 34 of the traditional stops we have done.
Of 140.
So we still have a ways to go.
Yes.
And we have done a lot of side trips. And there's many reasons why our loop got slowed down. Number one, 6 months out, we got hit by Hurricane Irma down in the Keys. That kind of slowed us and took us a while to really get our gumption back and wanted to be in motion. And we kind of slowed things down. The stress of that and the refit after that was a lot.
And then there was also, in our span of past time, there was this pandemic thing that slowed the entire world down
for a couple of years.
And we kind of made Sanford, Florida, a home base for that. So that was a little bit of a intentional pause where we became regional cruisers and not ongoing slow looper cruisers.
Right. So a lot of people did continue the loop, but Canada was closed, so you couldn't do that portion. And a lot of marinas just weren't initially accepting transient. So we decided to shelter in place. We went back to a favorite side trip of ours, Sanford, Florida, and we ended up there 4 years. Well, we weren't there 4 years. We did a lot of van adventures from there in our RV life. Yep. And we did, like you said, the regional cruising. We did intend to restart our loop in 2023. I had a little bit of a health scare. It took a couple months to sort that out. And by then, it was too late in the season to start. So we restarted in 2024. So 4-year pause for those 8 years. So really it's a 4-year loop so far.
Yes. And why? Why aren't we, like, people do the loop. The traditional loop is a 1-year voyage, and it kind of makes sense because you're following the seasons. You have springtime in the Chesapeake, summer in Canada, fall on the river system, and winter in Florida. You're always chasing perfect weather. That's the formula for the loop, is to always be chasing that perfect weather. But it also means you're always in motion, always.
Or planning to be in motion.
Yes.
So we encounter so many loopers. They pass us by every season that we're on the loop. We see them, hi. And so many of them, only 4 to 6 weeks into their adventure, and they're already exhausted because they've been in motion almost daily. They're constantly planning their next stop. They're calling ahead to the marinas. They're doing their weather. They're doing their navigation. They get in at the end of the cruising day. They maybe have time to check out a little local restaurant. Maybe they can get in the local museum in the morning, and then it's repeat.
Yeah, it is an enjoyable pace. I mean, a lot of people do like that fast pace, the intensity of it, and the being constantly underway. But so many people say they're like, oh, Canada was amazing, but we had to rush through, or we barely got there in time, and then this and that, and it was all rush.
I only got to do 4 stops in the Chesapeake, and there's
Yes.
like a million.
Yeah, so many people blow through the Chesapeake in a week. And there's so much to see, and so on and so forth. And that's just on the loop. There are so many potential side trips, and those have been some of our favorite things. And if you're doing the side trips, there's not enough time to do the loop in a year.
You have to really choose.
You choose
really
your side
wisely.
trips.
And there's nothing wrong with doing the looping there. There's a lot of advantages to doing that. You're done in a year. You can go back to whatever your other life is. We've been full-time nomads now for 19 years. For us, we have become more extended cruisers who are generally following the loop. And to kind of soul ourselves, we came up with the word slooper.
Yeah.
Slow
looper.
And it fits. Sloopers. Yeah. That's what we are. We are sloopers.
Yes.
But we more identify at this stage as being extended cruisers.
Yes.
But there's a lot of pros to this over the traditional 1-year loop of spreading it out over this. And one of is doing those side trips.
Right.
We've had some amazing ones, like going to Sanford down the St. Johns River in Florida.
Fell in love with Sanford and fell in love with the St. Johns River. Just last year, we did the side trip up the James River all the way up to Richmond, and another great city that is so often skipped by cruisers because it's a long detour away from the ICW and the traditional coastal routes.
We did the Cape Fear River up to Wilmington, one of our
Loved Wilmington.
favorite stops. We went up there with the intention for 1 week and ended up staying all last summer. It was just an amazing stop for us. We've also done the Waka thing to Conway.
Conway River, yes, the river to Conway.
That was a fun side trip. That was a lot easier for loopers to do because that's a short little 18-mile one.
And we're right now filming this up the Pocomoke River all the way to Pocomoke City. We're hoping to get up to Snow Hill, another side trip that most people don't do because it's a big diversion.
Number one, the Eastern Shore is seldomly done by loopers, and this is a side trip off the Eastern Shore.
Yes.
So we're on a side trip.
Yes, those side trips are sometimes the best.
So we have time to do that, and when we find a city that we like, because so often marinas are smack dab downtown where you're walking distance to the restaurants, the dining, the breweries, the wineries, theaters, all the cool stuff that we want to be around.
Yes.
We can take out a weekly or a monthly rate and just really immerse ourselves in a new city.
And that right there is also one of the other huge advantages is daily rates for marinas are often kind of painful, particularly for us from the RVing background. It's like, pay that for just one night.
Really, $120 to $150 a night, and I get in at 4 in the afternoon. I have to be out by 11.
Yeah, that's a lot, and it's like. But then you start looking at the weekly rates, and it's like, weekly it costs the same as 4 nights or 5 nights. I might as well stay a week. And then you look at a monthly, and that costs the same as 10 days or 2 weeks. And I'm like, I could stay an entire month. And suddenly it's really affordable, and you're living right in the heart of like downtown Charleston. We did that. That was amazing to be in the heart of that incredible city for a month.
Yeah, you get to do so much more than you would if you're only there for
one night.
18 hours when most things are closed except for the restaurants and bars. So it is a great way for us to explore. We so often talk to other travelers and they say, hey, I hear you really liked this city. We stopped there. We didn't get it. How long were you there? Just overnight. We were there for a month. We had time to really immerse ourselves and find what was
cool stuff.
We can go looking at posters in town and find what events and fairs and festivals and theaters going on. We have time to go check out multiple restaurants. We have time to make local friends and meet other cruiser friends who pass through that marina. So it's a very different way of exploring the cities that we stop in. And that just comes, I think, after all of our years of nomadic life, if we've come to appreciate that slower pace.
Yeah, particularly an extended stop in a city that's my happy spot is like really getting to dive into a city, get the bikes out and explore.
Right. Now, another advantage of taking a slower pace is you have time for real life stuff. A lot of loopers are more in a vacation mode, which is a great thing to do. If you can take a year-long vacation,
go for it.
Fantastic. You can take care of all your medical needs with your local doctor before you leave and then catch up again when you get back. For us, we're doing all that stuff while we're in motion. And that takes effort sometimes to find medical care when you're in a new location.
And you don't have a home base to go back to.
And that's something we've dealt with for decades now. We still do work part-time now, so we have time to put in our work days. And we can, when my medical thing came up, it's like, okay, we can stay put for a couple months and deal with this.
And sometimes it's nice just to be able to intentionally say, we want a down day. The weather's not great. The energy levels aren't there. You could take away that pressure of needing to make miles and just say, today we're not going to do anything.
Yep. And no commitments, no schedules. Like right now, we're on the Pocomoke River. We would like to go to Snow Hill next, but there is a bridge right over there that's broken. So
we might as well wait another day and see if they fix it. And if not, then maybe we'll go that way, assuming they get that other bridge to open that way. So
kind of caught between two bridges right now, and we're not stressing out. Talk to you tomorrow. I might be.
If you get stuck too long. But, right now it's like, hey, another day in a cool town. Why not?
Yep. Why not? It's a great name for a boat. It's a great name to answer for everything. Boats have mechanical stuff, so we have time to deal with mechanical things, and sometimes it means extended times in boat yards.
And it gives us more flexibility, too, to be able to, we find a boatyard that presses our buttons and is like, hey, we could stay here for an extra week or two and tackle a few other pending projects sometimes.
Because there's always a list.
There's always a list of stuff to be handled on a boat. And if we're in the right place, we're like, okay, well, if we got to have to do this because the boat insisted we do this, we might as well do these other things and extend for a little bit longer. So it gives you more flexibility and less of needing to be in emergency mode, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, there's still plenty of emergencies.
Plenty of emergencies on a boat.
And because we're doing this over time, it does make sense for us to invest in making the boat our home.
Right.
So we have done a lot of upgrades on our boat to make it really ours and a comfortable place to be long term.
Yes, everything from our magic pop-up television to a hot tub. So we have a comfortable experience here. A lot of other people who are doing particularly the more traditional loop, they're not cruisers. They buy a boat to do the loop. So they try to get a boat as close to what they want. They spend a few weeks, maybe just a few months outfitting it. And then they use the boat as is, do the loop, and then try to sell it when they're done, which is, again, a great way to go. If you want to do that and you've got the right boating experience and are comfortable doing that, go for it. But it's also nice to just really settle in and then move your house around the loop and the house that you've really spent time customizing.
Yep. So, we put the effort into reupholstering everything. Artwork that we like,
yes.
All the little touches, and then of course all the maintenance stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
With all those pros, sounds great. Maybe you're ready to sign on for Slooping. There are, of course,
Great Slooper Alliance or something.
There we go. We should come up with the Slooper Club.
Slooper Club.
We should have our own Burgee for Slooping.
Yes.
It has to be higher. That is one of the cons of being a slooper is we've had to replace our Burgee multiple times.
Yes, our HLC Burgee wears out, and we never get a chance to upgrade to gold because we haven't finished the loop yet. So,
all right. So, of course, there is seasonal storage. So, when we complete a season of our loop, we're usually in a place where it is inhospitable to continue boating or living aboard.
Yep.
So, we are needing to store usually now for winter. Used to be for summer for hurricane season. Mm-hmm. Switched it around.
Yes, we have switched it around. We used to RV in the summer and boat in the winter. Now we're doing the opposite.
So you do have to manage those logistics, and that does mean each season finding a place that you feel comfortable with, leaving your boat and knowing the conditions of the area and what are the calamities that you need to be prepared for, whether it's hurricanes or ice.
Yes.
Hurricanes I know more about. Look, ice I'm still...
Snow and ice and winter and freezing and all that other stuff. We just stored last winter in Chesapeake, Virginia, and who knows where we'll store this winter. We might go north and then double back a little ways, or who knows?
Who knows? We'll figure that out in fall.
That's one of the pluses. We could figure it out as we go along.
Yep, to find what works for us. But yeah, that is one of the logistics. And then what are you going to do when you are not slooping?
Yes.
If you have a home base, do you go back or do you rent it out part of the year? You've got those logistics to figure out. We're nomads. We kept our RVs on purpose. So we so far have gone back to RV life in our non-cruising season. We might, now that we no longer have a cat, we might investigate other sorts of
international trips or something like that. Yeah.
Long-term cruising on someone else's boat.
Yes. Like a cruise ship. Yes.
Like a cruise ship, where they make my bed.
Yeah. So that is one of the things you have to figure out if you're slooping is where to store your boat.
And I think probably one of the biggest cons of slooping is you miss out on what is described as one of the best features of doing the loop, and that is the community of loopers.
It's like a pack.
Yeah, so as you're going around the loop, there's usually, I think currently about 150 to 200 currently pursuing the loop, kind of more on the traditional one-year path. And because the season is kind of the same, they're usually around the same area. So you get to make friends that you are hopscotching with and seeing frequently. Maybe you even decide to travel with
For a while or the whole month, whole trip.
Yeah, or maybe buddy boat with. We don't get that aspect of it.
Yeah, we get to have very brief passages as people go, and we've had people lap us. They go around and they're on their second loop, and we're like, "Oh, hey, there you are again." And the loopers, there's some really, it's a great social experience. We get to experience, we have experienced, getting together for docktails and swapping stories and tips and ideas and everything like that. We just never get to experience that ongoing same people over and over again because we're moving way too slow.
Yeah, so this year we're on the Chesapeake. Right now, it is kind of
packing us.
Packing us. We're seeing them at marinas and anchorages and hanging out with them, and it's fantastic. We really, really enjoy that aspect. But these are folks that, unless they do a second loop, we're probably never going to see again.
Yes. We'll see them online. Good to see you
we'll
guys.
keep in touch online for sure. So that is a downside. So if the social aspect is important to you, the traditional loop definitely has an advantage there. And then everything else really comes down to, we more look at ourselves as long-term cruisers as opposed to 1-year loopers, which means we have to upkeep a boat longer term. So we're making decisions for our boat and maintenance. We are having to take time out to do 4 to 6 week boat project in a yard, having the bottom repainted.
Yeah. Well, a lot of loopers just do it at the beginning and then sell the boat when they're done. They're doing it for a year.
Right. Ours, we're not looking at as a 1-year turnaround. So we are having to do the long-term maintenance, making decisions not just for what's going to last us for the year, but what's going to last us for our pace another 20 years.
and that also allows us to invest in all the fun upgrades like solar panels and hot tubs and
lithium batteries and all the things that make our lifestyle more sustainable and enjoyable for us.
Yeah.
Whereas a traditional looper might decide to no, I'll just use a generator when I'm anchored out, and I'll budget for docks and things like that, where it's no, we like anchoring out, so we have optimized, and we have optimized our electrical systems around that, which might not be it's an expensive investment that might not be worth it for a year for a lot of loopers. There's also, of course, like we said, the burgee. We have to buy a new burgee every so often. We do keep our Great Loop AGLCA membership active. We now have 8-year membership there. That is an ongoing fee. It's minor in the grand scheme of things. But I don't think they even offer a lifetime membership unless you've completed a loop. So we don't even qualify for lifetime.
Yeah, no. We don't have that gold burgee yet. So someday, maybe.
Yep. And of course, because we have made this investment in our vessel and in the concept of maybe one day completing the loop, we either will have to make a decision one day that we are finishing the loop, and maybe we speed up our course. I expect once we get out of Canada, we're going to get lost in the rivers.
There's
so much ahead. There's so much ahead of us.
Going up into the Tennessee rivers and want to go up to Nashville and Chattanooga.
Yeah, we're never completing the loop. I've just come
so
to
much
accept
to
this. But yeah, we are committed to the cruising lifestyle generally along the loop, which is saying no to other adventures during our cruising season. So as much as we would love to be doing international travels, we are kind of committed to the loop. We do love it. We do, and we can love it. We
can change our mind, yeah.
But we have now a pretty huge, not just financial investment, but also an emotional investment in what we have created in this lifestyle. And then, as a social media content creator here, having our loop done in segments isn't really great for audience retention.
We've got some amazing people who've been watching forever for 9 years longer, all the way back in our RVing time, and who love it and who love our style and who stick with us. But a lot of other people who want kind of a story, they want to see the loop, they want to see the quick story, they want it done in a year. Well, our seasons just are too slow paced for them, right. And that's fine. It's every channel does different things.
So folks who want the entire Great Loop as a story, there are some fabulous other channels out there. Show and Joe did a fabulous job documenting their loop mostly in real time and created a documentary out of it. I don't have that energy anymore to do that sort of content. But there are great content creators out there if you want to see the entire loop.
Or in faster time.
Yep. So we're just about sharing what we're up to.
And sharing the cool side trips and the places that a lot of other people don't end up going.
But that's us. And that's why you're here watching us. Because hopefully you like our style, which is great. And I find it crazy. We sat on this very couch 7 years ago justifying why our loop had taken so long We only got so far in 1 year.
I wonder where we'll be this time next year. Next loop anniversary.
Who knows? We'll probably, hopefully, be returning to our boat somewhere up the eastern seaboard, maybe the Chesapeake.
Yes.
That's kind of the goal. And here we are 8 years later, pretty much making a new justification.
But the last 2 years, we've made a lot of miles.
We have, actually.
Relative to our prior pace. But even still, like, will we get out of the Chesapeake this year? Maybe.
Maybe not. I'm not committed to either outcome. I just know we're enjoying life.
And there's a lot to see.
And there's a lot of people to meet, a lot of great places. There's a lot of weather to contend around and navigate with. And I like not feeling pressure to have to go out on a day that's not ideal just to make miles and to keep a pace. That's great. Oh, and the Erie Canal being shut down later this year. Not even worried about it.
Yep, a lot of loopers are completely stressed because all their plans and timing and hopes for Canada are being dashed because they're potentially a 1 month delay on getting into the canal system.
Or longer now, they're saying.
Or potentially even longer. And you got to be able to adapt and adjust or just say, I don't need to necessarily rush through all of that. And not needing to rush opens up so many doors to explore in other ways.
And allows serendipity to catch up with you sometimes.
Yes, it does.
And it's really nice to take. I just need sometimes multiple days in a row where we are not actively planning the next stop.
Mm-hmm.
And
just enjoying being where you're at.
Exactly. And that's just something that we've learned over our years of nomadic life and what works for us. And we're constantly balancing our individual desires for pace, but usually we're in sync.
We're pretty in sync, yeah.
Or I throw a temper tantrum and you get in sync. It works.
We're usually pretty in sync.
So anyway, that is slooping. So
slow looping.
There is no right or wrong way. This is our way. You find your way. They will find their way. And it's all good.
And if you all identify as a slooper,
maybe we
let's
do create.
Connect.
And let's create a slooper burgee.
Yes, maybe we do. We combine the MTOA turtle with a loop, and I don't know. I'll work out some kind of cool logo for this. And the Slooper Burgee.
Sloopers unite. We'll never unite because we'll all be in different parts.
We'll all be in different places, but at least we can compare notes.
And we can virtually unite. So anyway.
Share favorite side trips.
Let us know in the comments. Are you a slooper? Does the slooper motif kind of really resonate with you? Leave those comments. It really does help the channel and this video reach more people if you like and comment. So we'd love it when you do. But until next time, we'll be sharing more of our slooping side trip adventures and share more about these places we're visiting.
Take care.
We create these videos just for fun, and we love having you along for the ride. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, or if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. See you next time.